staff could find control in their own lives rather than really the only control they have on the staff is to throw people down or kick them out of the room or block them. It's really quite strange. But no, Steve and I, we've been friends. Steve, how many years? At least 4, right? Our rooms never went crazy.
Sounds about right. My room, I run 2, of course, one on Saturday morning, one on Sunday morning. And it never gets out of hand, but there's a reason for that. It's because I start the room. I'm the only one that starts the room Saturday and Sunday morning. And the mods all know that I'm the one that closes the room. I'm the one that's responsible, and I'm the one that's in charge. And if the mods have any problem with that, they can do it through text. They can call me directly. As I said, and again, doesn't mean that the way I do it's going to work for everybody else, but we do not air our dirty laundry in public.
Can we get past this room comparison? Because that was not a room issue. That was simply a Brad issue. It could have been solved with one kick in the butt. This was not no Aaron.
Talking about me.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult because this is not my house, and I align with serendipity about removing people from rooms. Go ahead.
Tell you what, I'll stop the bragging right now.
Please do. I was gonna get that money. Like they was a Brian drop room. That's lady mods. They know Brad is Roger's friend, and they didn't want to kick him out of the room. That was the only issue. Like, so to make this some comparing rooms is stupid. Act like it was some kind of air dirty laundry is stupid. And to continue this conversation is fucking stupid. Like let's talk about the blue jeans or something.
Correct. I agree with you, Akima. The thing of it is, there are lots of different moderation styles. A lot of them work. I'm given a particular topic. I do like a very firmly handed moderated room. I think that's best for discussion and the exchange of ideas and being able to talk to people that you're different with and it not turn into this big crash out. But then there are times in the more social element where, current events, I think it's good and it's healthy. And you know what? I'd much rather people be on this app arguing and working out their frustrations than taking it out on some poor unsuspecting soul in their real life. So, I don't take issue with that. I think you go where the conversation takes you, and you enjoy what you enjoy, and if you don't, you go find something. We all get to curate our time here on Clubhouse and spend it the way that we want to, but yeah, so
I have a couple of things, serendipity, and then we can wrap it up, because Ms. Lopez just came in, and she was wondering what was happening, and I need to tell her that, difficult to moderate when you can't speak. And comments in chat aren't always read. And when Kristen, I think it was interesting, Kristen, to mod KK to see what she would do. But then also I said, hey, you have to either demod yourself or unblock serendipity. Mojo created this script, or I did this morning. Serendipity and Mojo and I have been in here all day. For her to block serendipity when she left is untenable to me. You don't get to remove or deny someone access to a room they helped build. It's bullshit.
Right.
And then she started swinging her dick around.
Wait.
And I'm like, no, she doesn't get to you.
You were blocked?
Yeah, which was fine. I wasn't going to go back anyway, but yeah, I was blocked.
I'm sorry. See, I don't know this stupid drama, and this is a really great thing of don't bring drama.
Right? Yeah.
Wow, that's okay. But you know what? We all learned. Okay. Wow.
And in fairness to her, I block her too. When I'm there and I'm modded, she can't get into the space. It is a mutual block. There's no drama there. We're just two personalities that we clash, and we clash in not very productive ways. So it's just better to block her and not have to deal with it, So this, while I wholeheartedly love Monica for exactly what she just said, I totally get where she's coming from and how she felt about that. I made that decision to leave that room because I just don't like to see people crash and burn like that. It just breaks my heart to see people get torn up. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a big sap like that. So in that respect, it didn't matter, Kristen. It's not like I was like, oh my God, I can't get back in the room. It wasn't a situation like that. But that's not to discredit or take away from Monica's point, because there could be a time when that would matter to me.
Right.
You know? Right.
And also, while that was a factor that I said, oh, hell no, KK is not going to curate my space for me. Also, the concern of Clubhouse glitching me out of the room and me being locked out was a huge factor, too. She doesn't get to colonize my rooms. And if Mojo wants her as a mod in his spaces, he can with my full blessing. And those are rooms I don't have to be in.
I concur. Yeah, no, I absolutely concur.
But Don, when I moved Brad down, it was me to try to control the space, and I know it makes him angrier, and my options were limited because he wasn't paying attention to the mute. I muted him several times, and then I moved him down, and I moved him down twice. I did not move him down the third time, and I do recommend people take responsibility, whoever did it, because, like I said,
Well, the thing with Brad is that I see people getting moved down, and then mods arguing with people on stage, trying to control the stage, and all that needs to happen is a subject change and stop engaging with the people that argue like that.
agreed.
You know, that's it. Just let's change the subject.
And not entertaining it. Mm-hmm.
Right, that's right. And so I actually had something personal going on, so I stepped away from my phone. I didn't even know what was happening or the room closed or anything like that until I got back just recently. But
Yeah, and that's what happened. Like, I was like, okay, well, this room is kind of burnt. KK is modding, and she's not. Well, she refused to unblock Serendipity. So then I moved her down, and then people kept bringing her up so she could insult me. I'm like, this is not working. Let's do a new room. And then when I tried to guide everybody to Serendipity's room, nobody was leaving. And so I demodded all the mods that who I thought could have possibly modded KK, because there was a legitimate concern she would be remodded and I'd be removed. Right. And
Game theory.
I would have absolutely, because it's like, how do you figure that? And thank you for asking directly and not the one direction. So I really appreciate it.
She's pregnant.
I actually,
And she called her
I'm actually glad you did that
very
experiment,
derogatory names.
because it gave us
Yeah,
an
but they
opportunity
said something
that
about,
when she is
she's going
empowered,
to die when she's 9
she's
months
not graceful with it.
She's a
We didn't allow
some trans woman. I mean,
and Serendipity doesn't want to be in, but that's not the point. The point is, it's in the muff. It's not one of her rooms. So if you're modding, go ahead, whoever interrupted.
No, I'm not about that. I just want to know why y'all like national like that. Not all
Because Brad has value. Brad comes with some knowledge. So when he's on his knees, he's on the top of the room.
Like now, and that's what I'm talking about. She's a black national. Y'all should have never let them attack again like this.
I agree, Akima. I agree. There's many mistakes made. And I didn't know about and here's the thing too, you know, and I apologize to Dippity and to Monica. Are you going by Scarlett now, or should I call you Monica? Do you care?
No.
You don't care.
And I don't think you had to apologize. I think you apologized already, and it really wasn't anything that, I don't hold a grudge, because you didn't know. You needed information that you didn't have, so you made choices based on what you knew. And like I said, in hindsight, it gave us lots of good information. So we're good, Kristen. I speak for me, so we're good.
Chris, are you
You
enjoying
do
this?
not owe me an apology at all either.
Should have called this the Monica show, actually.
I don't expect anybody to know my personal history with anybody else on this app. I don't expect anybody to fight my battles. You know, I mean, people do shitty things. Somebody did a horrifically, probably the most horrific shitty thing to me last night on this app. But you know what? You don't see me making rooms about it, and you don't see me running my mouth about it, because I have to take responsibility for my experience and what I tolerate and what I allow. That's not on anybody else, so I don't hold you accountable for that.
Okay.
Okay, and so Nai's not here, and I really did, because she's not going to understand. She did her best to get that room under control. She was Herculean with the Game of Thrones music and everything. And I just knew the temperament and the people she was trying to control, and
Yeah.
and I couldn't speak.
It does sound like a voice I would
So
do,
I
right?
did the limited things that I could do. So if y'all talk to Nai, tell her please don't hate Monica, and maybe check out this replay. And what I'd like to suggest is we open another
I
room
think, what was
for
the name
casual
of my
conversation with
transcript?
no replays and move on to talk about jeans. What do you guys
Can
think?
we talk about jeans?
See, this is where people don't know how to meditate.
I got my jean
Do
PTR on.
prayer or
But I can't
meditation. Read a book.
Do y'all want to continue with this room with the replay on? Y'all okay with that?
You know, I just want to say that this is like a perfect example of, you know, where a book can help calm the nerves and reduce the anxiety and change the topic in a positive direction.
Well, sure.
We like those external hard drives, John.
Another book I want to read is really very juvenile, but it was one of my favorites because it's a ghost story, and it's called Wait Till Helen Comes. Maybe one day we can read that. It's not very.
Oh.
I'll tell you one that would be good for Clubhouses for the next conversation.
It's called The Next Conversation.
Yep. It's how to say more with less words.
I'm actually gonna write that down because I'm always.
Okay, now I feel called out. Were you talking about me?
No, not at all. But it gives you a lot of good, helpful information about, like, you know, when somebody just says something that rubs you the wrong way, a more polite response to redirect their projection without really having to succumb to being nasty yourself.
Mojo.
It's a really good read.
I'm gonna go actually look on Amazon and get that because I know how, like, I was raised in a very expensive, aggressive, competitive environment. That's just I don't like it.
These
and I
are the
wanna be
Mojo
more
survey
graceful
questions
with
on Mojo's
responses
profile.
like that. So
What would be
thanks.
preferable
Yeah.
to U.S. government? Refuse the government. Who is the star? Mojo, of course. In your opinion, who is Poseidon's double? Mojo for sure.
My jeans are blue. I think we need a new poll, Miss Monica.
Okay, that'll be my last vocal act for a while. So
Okay.
Sure.
I'm sure everybody's aware of the American Eagle ad and the backlash that has come from it. With Sydney Sweeney. And so, yeah, I think first we'll probably ought to get this poll up and let everybody vote in poll and kind of see where the room stands.
Yeah, I have a problem with American Eagle, like I said. It's Megyn Kelly, though, is a complete hypocrite, though. She constantly shit talks other girls who are more attractive than her, so.
I'm pretty sure it's Megyn Kelly that got into that argument with that other girl that, let me see. Why can't I remember?
That most people's, if most people's lives, at least in the Western world, is relatively good today, that increases the misery and pain of the unfortunate much more than it was 200 years ago or 300 and 500 years ago when most people's lives was miserable.
What do you mean? Because of the comparison?
Exactly.
Where people can. Oh, I see what you're saying, Ralph. Yeah.
Well, fuck envious people.
Hey, I want to address the stupid title of your room. Just call Islam stupid is really stupid of a stupid person. who creates a room about stupid Islam or Christianity. Maybe you should like read a book or something as opposed to coming on here and complaining all the time. Aren't you like divorced or something? And you got a broken heart? Maybe if you read the Bible or the glorious Quran, you would find some peace and love and joy in yourself again and get yourself a girlfriend or a boyfriend and fall in love because it sounds to me like you just got a jaded heart.
Oh God, that is so funny. That's actually cheered me up today.
Listen, John.
Yeah, what is it, silly stupid man? Stupid orange haired, ugly boy. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna kick me from the room because you got an anger management problem too?
I have a particular set of skills. A set of skills that is a nightmare for people like you. If you don't apologize, if you
What do you think you're Batman? You're like the Jewish Batman now? The Jews never played Batman, never.
See, you can't play like have fun with people. If you don't let them, they do their bits too. And let someone else do their bits. You're fucking.
But see, that's what
you're
that.
bad.
No,
You're
my.
a improvisational comedian.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Other people's jokes, bro. You're a failed comedian, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. I thought that.
Hey, Rob.
That was
Sorry.
I gotta clip all
I
this.
was like, shit, no, I unfortunately have to go to an appointment. I was just like, I don't know, stick on the humor. I don't know. I think spaces like sometimes get really serious, and it's all just like opinion, but
Yeah, that was
I
good.
mean, also having some humor is kind of like quality of life. I mean, you can have really serious conversations, but it's all kind of opinion, and it's also kind of. But I mean, there's some kind of humor that I think works out nicely. So
Somebody
Here's
just
a fun
wanted to do a private with
that was appreciated for a
some of
while.
them cyber cops.
Here's a fun one. I've been married for 23 years, right?
She's
For shits and giggles, I changed all my relationship statuses to single. I'm 51 years old. I changed all my relationship statuses to single, and the algorithms immediately started advertising like fancy cat food to me. Not dick, no, cats. Like,
Wait,
I posted the wrong link, Kristen. That's not the one. There's one of them. She talks about I got this from my mother. I got this from my father. Talking about genes as in GENES.
Yeah.
And then she ends it with, I got great genes. My genes are blue.
what does that mean? Sorry for the being dumb, but
Yeah, she's just playing on the. She's playing on the the whole gene versus gene thing, and basically a lot of people have come out and said that it's Nazism, it's promoting white supremacy, blah 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 blah. blah.
It's the whole blue jeans.
Right.
Track the whole blue blood.
Oh yeah, blue blood and yeah.
alright, let me watch. Interesting.
So this is John.
There's a history, right? Didn't Beyonce do that? So I don't know the history, but pardon?
Yeah, Beyonce did them with Levi.
Yeah, so there's a history with the back and forth on that.
Oh, do tell, Dawn.
What's that?
My group has a react to Sydney's gene ad.
So, I keep getting accused that I am that person point on this app, who I believe is a white guy doing a black. I mean, the PTR is irrelevant. We know that is not the person, and it's most likely a white gay guy doing that voice. I wouldn't even call it a black voice. I don't know. I would just call it a guy doing a woman's impersonation, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're
Okay, so I have a show open called the Point Show Comedy where I'm gonna do an impersonation of Point. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going deep in the muff into character.
I definitely accused Point of being used several times. This is my first time seeing you guys in the room together. You definitely speaking the same thing.
Well,
I'm leaning away from the fact that
I did have a trans character on here for a while. I can't remember what it was called. Does anybody remember?
I don't. I was one of those that blocked you on sight.
Oh my God, did you really?
I told Roger out of the 299 people I have blocked, John was 297 of them.
I mean, oh, it's terrible. Oh, dear.
You wanna know why I started blocking him though? He really ticked me off. He came into a Monica, Serendipity, and Anne room, and when we realized it was him on his Edmund account, he got booted. And I don't even know who booted him at that point because I really wasn't on the boot Edmund on site bandwagon. But then he came back in with another one of his accounts, pretending to be a black boy. And it's my three favorite white women. And so then he carried on a conversation with us for like 15 minutes before somebody else came in and said, "Y'all know you're talking to Edmund, right?"
No way.
I was so bad at it. I was like, oh, screw him.
Wait, you're claiming I played a black boy?
You did. You totally did.
I'd have to hear that recording.
That's why I started blocking you.
See, I think people may project a lot of other people onto me and not even know they're doing it.
No, it was definitely you. Because when you got called out on it, you lost your character voice.
Well, I'd have to hear that recording because it's not often that I. Oh, well, maybe I have. I guess I have. But I'd have to hear it because to claim.
Oh, it's my three favorite white ladies. Blah blah blah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd have to hear the supposed recording.
People, huh?
Well, Monica is known as our favorite Canadian who wants to make America great again.
So, Necro, have you ever bought one article of clothing from American Eagle stores?
Yeah, I just bought some, although they were not blue jeans.
What did you buy?
I bought skinny jeans.
Wow, you bought skinny jeans.
That tracks.
The thing is, I need to buy skinny jeans because I'm only 135 pounds, so.
Got it. Well, you could do squats. You could take protein supplements and have a New York strip for dinner tonight and pump some iron.
You know what? Maybe we can do this too. Since you did the whole meeting room, we can do a walking room for 1 hour. We can all do talking and maybe not. It could be a room from in the bus. It could be whatever. But we could do a walking room where it's let's feed Necro, yeah. Some protein shakes and we'll walk for an hour. We'll all do it together. I need that too. I say that because I need it too. You can say no.
I've lost my six pack, and I used to be so skinny that I pretty much was all just pretty much bones. So
The egregore mind.
That's not good. That's not healthy.
Egregore mind.
Let's get you some more protein.
Interdimensional dopamine
Well, this is
mind.
why I don't talk very much. A long time
Free
ago,
from
the
you,
theory was,
gravity
this app
gulag.
said, I think if I was going to be spending this much time on Clubhouse, I could only be spending this much time on Clubhouse if I was doing something else. So I try to stay busy.
Well, see, when I'm here, I am most of the time I'm really engaged because I am live streaming myself. So I think it gives me a different experience, maybe a higher dopamine experience. Plus, I smoke cannabis, generally, and drink coffee in the morning. But all I'm trying to say is, let it go, let your thoughts go, because it's very hard to purge your memory. And and you never really can. So the whole thing is, if you do want to purge your memory, you have to create new experiences and new educational moments. In my opinion, I think reading a book is meditation. So if like you are emotionally discombobulated, from a previous room, just imagine the previous speaker's emotional discombobulation, because when you self roast and you're really nasty and aggressive, it doesn't make you feel good because you're using very negative words and terminology. So I would say have more friendship, have more kindness, because people who are really angry and do road rage, uh, there is no way that they could be sitting well with themselves. It's so I would just say, amplify the love to extinguish the pain.
I wish I could smoke pot. That's not fair. I want to smoke pot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could benefit from it, but unfortunately, they have these things called jobs, and a lot of their jobs dictate that they cannot consume a vegetable plant, which in many ways I understand, because knowing them, they should be 100% sober doing that job.
Well, I think it's also, for me, it's just a good discipline. I don't need a crutch to take. Sorry, taking good care of myself. I just need to take care of myself.
Yeah, health, wealth, love. I put it in that priority strand because it's hard to maintain your health. It requires work. It's another job.
Monica, to your comment about who knew the word hun would trigger so thoroughly, it can be condescending sometimes.
Oh, it totally is. I agree.
Yeah. People can, particularly somebody my age, just looking at me and going, hun, no, I'm not your honey.
I once I told my teacher, my name is Doctor, not honey.
Shit. Well, I think that this was a great example of the conflict that it was an excellent, it was an incredible example that I can never really articulate very well. Like how I grew up in a Midwestern household.
Yes, there's a war after the court of Israel.
In a southern.
So if they're resisting for their own land or property or whatever, then it turns into a war. It's not a war. They want their shit back. Just like you live in America, you probably want your shit back. Or somebody was to come and pull up and say, "Oh no, we have a partition land, or we have this. God promised us this land from 3,000 years ago. Give it up," And they force you, and you try to get help from cops or whatever, and cops are in bed with these people, these criminals that are trying to take away property, and they even file the cases. There's the cases that they have filed in the court, to try to get their, land back or whatever. A lot of the people, and I came across quite a few Palestinians on Twitter space, on here, and even in my real life, they have keys, deeds, and whatever paperwork to their properties. So I don't think I don't think we can call it a war. They just were resisting. And then the Arab army, they wanted to help them, trying to get their land back.
I guess you could call it an invasion if you wanted. Because they didn't have any land in the first place, and they invaded the existing people there to take the space, right? So I could see that being an invasion rather than a war, or an invasion that amounted to a one-sided war. I'm not convinced, though, that there's any basis to take Israel's borders from them as they stand today, but I'm not supportive of them expanding their borders. And
Do you agree with the Nakba?
What would I have to agree to the Nakba? Like, what do you mean?
You said that the borders, you don't want them to expand anymore.
Oh yeah.
You think they shouldn't? They shouldn't go.
Well, I agree with what they did in the first place. Is what you're saying. Not from a Zionist principle, no. No, I see what you're saying. But that I would consider people that agree with that portion of it are textbook Zionists. I would say that's what Zionism kind of is the people that think that was completely appropriate. I'm not saying I'm that. I'm saying that in light of the fact that it is a exist already. I don't think it's appropriate to be taking it from them, but that doesn't mean that they should be supported in expanding it as well. They should not. So I guess what I'm saying, and they should lay off the Palestinians when it comes to the West Bank and the incursions on the West Bank, things like that.
If they give back land, should they minimize or reduce their borders?
No, other than turning over anything that they kind of encroached on the West Bank and stuff based on, in the last 40 or 50 years, maybe, yes, but I don't think they should be giving back the proper borders that exist beyond the Golan Heights and the West Bank and Gaza as they stood, after all that happened, I guess.
And there's still people alive that remember it before that, right? So.
Sure. Yeah, but the world's full of conquered people, right? Like that's where it's no different than any other part of history. I'm an American, right? We came in and wiped out the Indians, gave them this shitty little place, those shitty little places to live, and left them in a little plot of land.
I bet they resisted.
They did. But they were overwhelmed as well. They resisted, and it didn't take very long for them to be vastly outgunned, right? They didn't even have guns, in fact. That was the problem. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not a Zionist because I don't think that Israel has some inherent right to have land. I don't think they have necessarily a cultural right to that ground any more than anybody that lived in I guess what would be called, what was Palestine called for a long time, like Palestine?
Originally Palestine. Before that, it was called Palestine.
Palestine, yeah. So I don't think Israel has any right to that land over anybody else that lived there when it was Palestine. Let's put it that way.
My question is, right, if they want to live in peace, do you feel like Israel will have to give a goodwill gesture? It's about, what is it, about 8?
I think they should be forced.
There's nowhere forcing them unless countries go to war.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, from a world perspective, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that.
So my question is, so do you feel like they're obviously responsible for? Well, they are responsible for most of the stuff, in my opinion. But
they're not. I can't. I think it's going too far to say the way that October 7th went down was acceptable. I'm not saying it shouldn't be expected.
I was going to ask you about that, right? Let me ask you this question, right? So October 7th, you put October 7th on one side, and then you put the 7 years of the way that the Israelis have treated the Palestinians. Do you really think that October 7th outweighs the evil that Israel have done to the Palestinians?
Oh no, I don't think it outweighs it. No, I think that.
So why is it like?
I think the Palestinians. I think Gaza should have been expected to face some incredibly awful consequences of October 7th. But that doesn't mean that it somehow is worse than.
You can say the same for Israel. Israel should have been expecting the October 7th.
Right. But I have no. I agree with that. But I have no respect for the way that October 7th was actually. The engagement actually took place. I have no respect for the way I consider how October 7th was handled as textbook terrorism. They targeted civilians on purpose. They tortured for reasons of fear. So if they would have handled it more professionally from a war perspective, they're asking me questions, so I'm answering them. I've been answering questions for a while.
Wednesday, hang on, let him finish, and then you can speak.
So I don't agree with the way that October 7th occurred. I don't agree with what they decided to do for October 7th. If they would have engaged in some kind of official, if they would have targeted military assets or something, then I wouldn't think that way. But they didn't. They targeted civilians on purpose, which is straight up terrorism. Can you argue that Israel targets civilians? I guess, but I can't. October 7th was blatant. So. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not surprised it happened. I'm not surprised Israel responded the way they did.
Teddy, when is wants to speak, Teddy?
Well, that's it. I think you understand where we're going with it.
Thank you, Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, that's good. So what I wanted to say is why I don't if you read October 7th, you know that a lot of the IDF soldiers ran into the kibbutz. And they actually used the civilians as shields, and it was back and forth. They were firing back and forth with each other. Now, did some Hamas target civilians? Yeah, we could say that. But what I saw and what I've read is that the idea of soldiers didn't stand and fight. They ran. They ran into the kibbutz like cowards, putting the civilians' lives in jeopardy because they knew Hamas was there. Now, if our military would have done that, Mike, which they wouldn't have because our military is well trained, you would have a problem with it, right? If the army runs away from because it was surprise. Oh my God, even though it wasn't really a surprise. I mean, there's evidence to show that Egypt warned Israel 2 weeks prior. A lot of people I think a woman in the Knesset warned higher ups that they were planning something, and they didn't listen to her. And it took 6 or 7 hours for them to even control the situation, which is crazy to me because they have all this weapons that us United States citizens buy for them with our tax dollars, right? So I don't know. I don't believe that. Also, you said something about.
Oh, wait, before you go on to that, can I make a point about what you just said? And then you can finish the other point. Okay. Everything you said is I think pretty much true. It doesn't obfuscate, whatever that word is, Hamas for targeting civilians. In other words, everything you said is true, and it doesn't change the fact that they went over the border and targeted civilians directly in a terroristic manner. If it ended up where if Israel failed to respond the way America would, that has no bearing on whether or not I think the way that Hamas engaged in the action was acceptable. Period. I mean, none of those things you said changed that whatsoever. That was all after it started. That was all after a bunch of kids at a fucking concert were slaughtered like fucking pigs.
I do want to add the context here, Wednesday, if I may. So 7th of October, they came out with $13.95. That was the original number. Then they went down to $11.95. Then they went down from $11.95 to $6.95 civilians, 500 IDF soldiers. Then you have the animal directive was applied as well. The amount of and they couldn't tell from the Palestinian bodies to the Israeli bodies. That's how burnt up these bodies were. The Apache helicopters were used. We have testimony from Shalomi, the guy that's on this app that was a captain, right? He after this question, he said that I said, was the animal directive applied? Were they shooting bullets? He said yes. While they were taking him in, he was kidnapped on 7th of October. You have and they could not tell for about a week or so because the Apache helicopter carries the automatic automatic weaponry that holds up to about 1,200 rounds. And they did apply the animal directive. There's people at the party. I don't know if you know about the open carry law, Mike, inside Israel. So if you have served in the military, you actually have the open carry law, where you would you can some of these people they even walked over to their cars to grab their weapon. What else was it? Oh yeah, 10 days prior to the attack, Egypt warned Netanyahu that there's going to be an attack.
Did you see? Listen, none of this fucking matters though. None of it changes a fucking word that I just said. It just does. You guys just keep doing this. I don't care if it's 1,100 or 1,300. I don't care if they had access to weapons in the cars. I don't care. I saw it. It was filmed. I saw it with my own fucking eyes. I watched The Last Dance. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you have to become an Israeli sympathizer. Hang on. I'm not saying you have to be an Israeli sympathizer by watching that. But what I am saying is anybody in their right fucking mind can see that was a bloodbath that was aimed directly at civilians, not military targets. And I have absolutely no tolerance for that. Zero. I think that there needs to be civilization in the world, and I think countries need to act in non-terroristic manners. We can argue about whether or not Israel is acting in terrorism, and we can do that. We can do a whataboutism all day long. It doesn't change October 7th and how it went down and what they did and how they did it, and the fact that they're now suffering horrible consequences
because they decided to target civilians as a bunch of fucking terrorists in a disgusting manner. I don't see why you have to justify that in order to also think what you guys think. Stop justifying it. It's disgusting.
Hang on a second, please hang on. So, who do we blame for the animal directive that they killed their own people and the hostage?
Who do we what? Sorry, what'd you say?
You do know animal directive was applied, right? On 7th of October?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Okay. Animal directive, the first time it was applied in 1986. And then the animal, didn't share with the public. And then suddenly, in 2005, according to Haaretz, this reservist, he wanted to serve in the IDF. And, he found out about animal directive. Animal directive is killed your own and kill the person.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I mean, if you want to show me some kind of evidence, that's fine. But just saying they couldn't identify the bodies because they were burned badly by Apaches does not mean that happened. I'm not buying that.
Yoav Galan, the defense minister said it. It was applied. He was a former Israeli defense minister.
I don't care if one person said it. I'm still not buying it. I need more evidence than the flapping gums of one person. There's all kinds of fucking lunatics, including the U.S. government. So
I can provide you the chopper videos, literally, and the testimonies from Shalomi. There's Shalomi on this app. Ask him.
So again, what you're doing, you're justifying how Hamas engaged on October 7th by saying Israel also shot their own people. That's right.
Yes, Israel did.
Yeah, again, it doesn't change what Hamas did. They targeted whatsoever.
So this is why we don't
know. Whataboutism is crap. Listen, you can condemn Hamas for what they did and think everything you think. It is not either.
No, not saying. I'm giving you data. I'll give you data.
But
I'm not going based on bullshit. I don't talk about the bullshit. I'll give you the data.
We do condemn the killing of civilians, but October 7th was justified. Maybe the method is not justified if civilians were...
Targeting civilians is never justified by any country ever. Ever, fucking ever.
Are you listening what I'm saying? Like, are you listening?
I don't care. I don't care. When you say it's justified, you're done. You said it. No, it's not acceptable.
The cause is 100%.
I don't care. No, it's not. There's civilians have nothing to do with it. No. Brother Amir, if they want to target civilians after they join the military, I don't need to listen to the rest of it because what you started with, the entire premise is bullshit.
God bless the two.
Hang on.
We condemn it, and then you would say God bless it. Fuck you, why was you disingenuous? I posted video of that. You want to stop being disingenuous?
Hang on. So I put the link in the chat for Animal Directive. This is a testimony of Commander of IDF. And Brother Zero put in the chat, you have to look up the
actual helicopter.
The actual helicopter. He got connected. Yes, he got connected with the people on the ground using WhatsApp groups and whatnot. And this is all Israeli sources. And if you're going to deny the Israeli official saying this, the commander of IDF said it. Yoav Galan, he was the defense minister of IDF, the Israeli government. I don't know what to tell you, Mike.
Okay, so again, whataboutism? Explain to me what the Hamel Directive has to do with Hamas beginning an attack on October 7th by targeting civilians, kids, at a fucking concert directly. No. Tell me what that is. Now later, Israel said we're going. I don't even care if you say Israel said. Hang on. I don't even care if you say Israel said their own people rather than be taking us on.
Let him finish, and then you can go speak.
Even if you say Israel initiated a directive after they were attacked on October 8th to kill civilians, Israeli civilians, directly rather than allow them to be taken as hostages in Gaza, then that's a conversation to be had, and that's something to be investigated, and that's something to be tried to try them as war criminals if they do that. At the same time, it doesn't fucking change what Hamas did as completely unacceptable. It doesn't. You can't justify it. There's no justification by doing whataboutisms. It's ridiculous. This guy before said, we don't support what they did, but they had a right to do it, and God bless October 7th. That means you do support. Well, that means you do support it. So you're lying. You're fucking lying.
I didn't say that. I said
What's wrong with it? He's the guy there. He's a fucking liar. This is a liar.
The mic is on zero. Hang on. The mic is on zero. Please allow zero to respond, and then Abu, you can go up.
Someone needs to change that guy's diaper. Yeah, this is all that's stupid. If you want to go there,
Can you please respond to the point instead of doing personal attacks?
Yeah, that's dumb.
Well, there it is. There it is, right there. More people were killed by the IDF than were killed by the freedom fighters on October 7th. More people were killed by Israel. More. Take a look at the fucking video.
You're a fucking
Look at
liar.
the video.
You're a fucking
Look at the video. I posted the video.
You're a fucking
Look
liar.
at the video. I posted the video. Look at the video.
You're about to
Look at the video. Look at the video. The Apache helicopters are just wiping those people out, dude. Of course I'm lying. Of course I'm lying to you. Of course I'm lying. Everything to you is a lie.
No, not everything to me is a lie.
Everything is a lie. Everything is a fucking lie.
Will you shut up zero for a second? For 1 second? Amir, I have made a bunch of concessions in describing to you what I think. I'm obviously not a Zionist based on everything I said, okay? Now, can you believe one thing and still not believe that Israel has a right to be engaged in a war today as they're doing it?
No, they do not.
They do both.
No, they do not. They do not.
That's ridiculous. It's
They
either
do
or.
not have a right to be.
Have absolutely no nuance.
Dude, the United Nations, the United
You know, that wasn't
Nations
for you, that was for me. I don't care about you.
the United Nations has said.
Hang on, please.
Asking what the definition of the word is. What is the definition of the word?
Mike, hang on. Mike, so how do you suppose them to get their own people back? Do you know what the objective of Hamas was? The objective of Hamas was to go in there, grab IDF soldiers to, so that way they can exchange them for their own people that have been locked up under administrative detention without due process for years, and even including children.
What I saw them grab was, in one case, a girl that was tall, long dark hair, and she had her legs broken, put her on the back of that pickup truck. She wasn't a soldier. So I don't buy that at all. That wasn't who they targeted. They targeted civilians. They ended up fighting some soldiers after 6 hours, and Israel was negligent and not responding faster. But you know what? I'll even give you this. Israel created Hamas on purpose. It's Israel's fault, just like the United States created Afghanistan. These countries do this. They go in for their best interest. They put people in place, and it bites them in the ass later. America's done it multiple times.
One second. So, Mike, they just, I'm going to say this, and then Abu, you have the mic. I'll provide you an article from Times of Israel. Lieberman, this is one of the Knesset members. He came out, he said Netanyahu was giving weapons to ISIS, Abu Shabat. That's actually identified.
Okay, so
ISIS
this is Amir. He's a potential terrorist, and he's a terrorist supporter operating on Clown House. And as you heard, Abu said he praises the October 7th attacks. You hear all kinds of disgusting propaganda in this room. This is a propaganda crafting course.
October was multiple gangs. It wasn't just one gang that did 7th of October. So go on, Abu.
Man, he said after 6 hours, Hamas started fighting with some IGF soldiers. So where were the ones patrolling the border? Was there no one at the border? How did they start fighting after 6 hours?
Apparently, it was some kind of holiday in Israel, and they didn't respond because they were basically not literally like negligent. They were just flat out negligent.
Sure.
Again, what you're justifying is they had a right to have it happen because they weren't defending their borders. That's stupid. Again, that's stupid.
Just listen to your answer, yeah? You're telling me that one of the most expensive
I've been to Israel.
One second, Fatima. One second. You're telling me that one of the most expensive borders in the world, a highly equipped border, they're accusing the other side to be terrorists. They had a holiday on October 7th and there was no one at the border?
Bro, can I add, Abu? Can I add to
I didn't say there was nobody at the border. There was obviously nobody. Yeah, there was a holiday, and I think the troops were reduced because of that. I didn't say they had nobody at the border.
Holiday or not, in every corner, holiday
because
or
of the
fucking not
holiday,
holiday,
Fatima,
there is
you
in every corner in the world.
Fatima, Can you relax for 1 second?
But just hang on. You just came in. You don't know the context of the story that we're going back and forth.
The context.
You don't know. Fatima, hang on. So recently, there's a testimony from an IDF commander, IDF soldier. I even played it in front of Amos. Amos is Israeli, kibbutz. The IDF says on the TV, he says, we were told not to show up for work on 7th of October at the Gaza checkpoints. I'll provide you that video as well. I came across it a couple of days ago. I was in a shock and this was all self-inflicted 7th of October attack. It had nothing to do with Hamas. It was all Netanyahu.
100% believable. I've been to Israel. There's fucking IDF in the fucking desert, bro. How you gonna justify there's no IDF on a working holiday? People celebrating like it's the most dangerous place in the world. Like it's fucked up. No, this is the step up shit. These people were told not to be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and post a video of the man testifying at the Knesset, and he says that he received orders. Listen,
we're not talking to you. We're talking to Mike about the mic.
Okay, listen. Israeli soldier testifies to Knesset committee. We received orders from Golani Brigade commanders on October 7th to cancel all patrols along the Gaza border from 5:20 to 9 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and post it where he talks about how he was ordered to not patrol. And this is the guy that says that one of the excuses was that there was a sniper. And he says, yeah, but I was there. If there were a sniper, I would have seen it. So this is a guy testifying to the Knesset that he was ordered by the Golani Brigade to stand down and do not patrol between 5:30 and 9 a.m. on October 7th. And you can watch the video.
Amir, I'll find this file, right? It's like some lawyers in the UK. They've documented and put in an Excel spreadsheet of every single thing that the Israeli government officials have said, the soldiers have said, everything, and it's got all the evidence for it. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Lucas, thank you, brother. Thank you. Send it over. Actually, send it to Mike. Mike, would you be able to, would you be okay reading the file that was compiled by the UK officials, the lawyers and whatnot, what they have said and what they have done in relation to the 7th of October?
Sure, it's not an end all be all though. Listen to testimony of people. There's a shit ton of, there's all kinds of fucking fruit people that say shit on all sides of all issues, and I don't take any one person's word for it, whether or not they work in the government. It's irrelevant. So if there's evidence of more people agreeing to that, and then there's some circumstantial and some physical evidence otherwise, but one person saying something is not going to change my mind, no. It never would on any side of any issue. There's so many fucking fruitcake bullshit people, even people in the government. It's kind of like if one person in the Israeli government said, we're trying to genocide the Gazans. I wouldn't say the entire government agenda is genocide. I get that you believe that. I know. I use this example, and I know you believe that.
What up, Scotty boy?
Hold on. If it wasn't the genocide case, ICC would not have issued the the arrest warrant for Netanyahu. ICC goes based on data and facts. ICJ, they played clips as well. Did you see the ICJ trial? What the amount of crimes that they have committed, the army? So they have to base it off videos and the evidence that they have. We have. You see what I'm saying? We have to base our opinion on the evidence that we have. How the hell are you gonna come up here and like IDF commander, a chief of defense minister of Israel is saying that no water, no food, the intention is right there. Okay, he said it. Hannibal directive was applied, and it's part of the idea of military. Kill everybody that's taking your own. Kill that person and kill your own. That's called Hannibal directive. I want you to go look it up. Do your research. It's a lot of evidence out there that shows the Hannibal directive was applied on 7th of October. There's way more people.
There's a few people in this room that it's impossible to change anything about what they think, and I'm not one of them. Okay, so the rest of you are like it's like banging my head into a fucking brick wall because you're disingenuous and you're not open-minded enough to explore things that are not just blatant fucking propaganda. And I'm over it, dude. You guys are intolerable. It's an intolerable group of closed-minded, stupid people.
It's an horrible group of stupid, hard-minded
And there was even extra idea.
First, you don't want to accept any, or you drag me nuts, to be honest with you, Fatima. So first, you don't want to accept anything coming out of like any high-ranking official or whatever government.
I didn't say that.
Like, in other words, you did say that, and now you're saying you don't want to believe us because it's all propaganda. So where do you?
In other words, I didn't say that. You adding in other words doesn't mean I said it.
Sure. So where do you get your information from?
Our evidence. More than one person. Not hearsay. All kinds of evidence. There's tons of evidence on all kinds of. There's a lot of evidence. Multiple sources, multiple articles, multiple sources. Reuters, Associated Press, CNN, all of it. Wednesday.
I know Russia's gonna get high. I'm worried about you.
How are you sure they're not? He's a shy Zionist. That's what they heard.
It does nothing to accuse me of bullshit like that. Listen, again, I can tell you've lost the argument when you resort to just calling me names. That's okay. No, that's what people do when they lose. I already proved I'm not a Zionist. I already proved that I'm not. Because you're saying I'm a Zionist. Were you here in the room when I explained why I'm not a Zionist? Did you disagree with what I said?
Okay. I agree with what.
Were you here in the room? There are no Zionists who do not believe that Israel is preordained to have land. I do not believe that. I know, and then when you say things later, they're stupid because you zoned out earlier. You got it. I figured it out. Here's a guy saying that he knows something and then admitting that he zoned out and didn't listen to what I said earlier. So that's just fucking dumb. He's ignorant, he's admitting it. He's admitting his own fucking ignorance. Listen, I didn't say you don't. I said you didn't listen to me. So now you're accusing me of something you didn't listen to. You're fucking tool. You're fucking tool.
Come on, you just talking because people are talking. That's how you doing.
Let speak and then we can pass the microphone.
Okay, I want to say something. Okay, people in here are very aggressive sometimes. I think we need to stop calling people Zionists too fast. Or like, because we have some disagreements. Like,
No, it's not a disagreement.
because of disagreements, you shouldn't go by the Zionists because it's not. Let me finish, please. I'm gonna stay now. So I don't believe in any government, okay?
Yeah, you know it's true. You don't deny it. You're trying to change it. I don't know. You've been to how many elderly that you're talking about have never served the idea of coming? You've been morally defeated. I have not been even tell you. Okay. So now that you conceded that you were wrong, now you want to say I'm not conceding I was wrong. Well, you've done the thing. They killed Holocaust survivors who would never serve all people. Right? You show me the evidence. I know. I don't admit it. You show me the evidence. Who's a Holocaust survivor that was killed? Do you deny it? I know. I said I don't know what you're talking about. Show. I finally denied it. Sure did. Yeah, but this is different to your claim. Yes. No. Well, not your ignorant period. You don't know who serves. You don't know what the rules are here. You know that they killed little children. No, you know very well you no longer enough to active duty and reservists have an ID. They have an active duty or a reservist ID, and they carry that around, regardless of whether
was owned by Hamas. He escaped a concentration camp in Eastern Europe at age 11. Yeah, was he murdered in his home as in shot and you have it, or was it the Israelis when the Hamas took over the kibbutzes and Israel started bombing the kibbutzes with tank rounds, with heat rounds? Because we have that on camera. We have literally tank rounds firing into the kibbutzes. You see how deep you're thinking? You see how we You know what's weak when Israel goes. What's weak is your moral failure. You are people that you support murdered children, too young to serve, as you know, the Beavis twins, deliberately, and kidnapped them. They either killed them on sight or they kidnapped them and killed them when they were in captivity. They said that there were signs that they've been strangled. You killed Holocaust survivors who were all to serve. You did not distinguish between combatants and non-combatants. Not everybody in Israel is a legitimate target if you're not a terrorist like us. Those are the facts. It's really not difficult because it undermines your position. I understand that you are trained not to engage with an actual election. To keep changing. How many old people have been voting to serve? How many young people have been there to serve? Workers who were not reservists because they need social workers and if they're already served. I continue the 1,200 people who were murdered by Hamas. They didn't know who was serving. Not here. They were in active duty. So the international law says that a combatant must be in uniform. And the sources violate it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, who said, you stupid people that are listening to CNN, listening to Fox News. It's a fucking genocide. Is there a who else did I mention other than CNN? Marjorie Taylor Greene said it's a genocide. I got it. It's a volume contest. He's not making a volume. I'm not making a volume contest. Do you agree with Marjorie Taylor? What else do I listen to? Do you agree? I'll get my information. Do you agree? Gerald, what else did he say? I asked my question first, Gerald. Then I'll answer your question about FGT. I asked my question first. What else do I listen to? What else do I get my information? Do you agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I'll answer that question. My question is first. Why are you listening to CNN? I asked you a question. They're straight up lying. And they're trying to drive the thing, and 100% not true. This is what they did. I just went in that. The point is that Marjorie Taylor Greene said that you people that are listening to that book. I heard you. I know that. Go ahead with somebody speaking. Yeah, go ahead. So do you constantly go back in history? Do we say God bless your father for making you a fucking midget? No. No, like what? For what? No. Should we bless your father and your mother that you're a short fucking freak? That's fine. No, but how does that change the fact that you spit garbage every day and you're a terrorist sympathizer? No. How does that change the fact? One at a time. The fact that Prince is a midget is anger issues separate. And it is fascinating that he and Mikhail so desperately want to be Jews, so desperately want to be victims, that at every chance they get, they want to compare themselves to the Jews of the Holocaust. As though there's any comparison anymore. Don't forget Mikhail and Prince. Hamas invaded Israel, not the other way around. And then to keep talking more and more about Warsaw and Auschwitz, I don't remember the Jews committing This is strictly heard you, right? Okay. Hey, Mike, the Jews were not holding hostages because that 100% said that the attack was I guess, genocide, or she disagreed with it, whatever the fuck you said. So the point is, did I hear you say?
No, I'm going to correct it again. I said, first of all, I didn't say, hey, Mike. I said, Amir. This guy, Mike, says that he is getting information from CNN. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I did not say Bill and Marjorie Taylor.
What's that? What's that, Mimi? Oh. Well, you're interrupting, sir. What's your problem? Did you not hear me talk? Is there a language issue? Okay, that's correct. You were. So don't interrupt it. That's okay. Okay, so, okay, don't interrupt. Don't think personal. So, Shlomi was kept in the home of a journalist, so who was really a Hamas member, and his father, who was a doctor, and even the kids and the wife participated in the hostage keeping. That makes them active members of Hamas. That implicates them in war crimes. That family is committing war crime as a family. Go ahead. Feel free to bring somebody up. I don't want to be the only one. Bring up whoever you guys want, man, because it's funny. It's not funny anymore. It's actually sad. I actually feel sad for their parents, for their family, for their relatives, for their neighbors. How fucking stupid they can be. And how they always want to go back into history. But they fail to talk about what really happened during the Holocaust. Jews didn't have captives. They want to be Jews. What about the innocent Russians that got killed by the Bolsheviks? Where did they get the Bolsheviks are terrorists. It's not an analogy. But I think, but why don't you engage with somebody? I think you're good at it. You want to get some skill. Bring somebody up and engage with them, and I'll let you guys do it. I don't want to be
I don't know anyone really who would want to talk to me because I'm probably one of the most hated people on here. But yeah, no, I just. Sorry, go on. Okay, well, give me a second. I just want to.
I'm trying to bring Prince back up. Somebody else has to. I've already run twice. They hate all of us from the scene.
Okay, so.
You mean normal people? Yes, they hate normal people. No, I'm talking about the terrorist supporters things. You know, I don't want to be friends with the terrorist supporters. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to play a clip in the room. The Israel Chai, can you play it, please? Right now. I don't have it. No, he's playing it right now, guys. There's gonna be a clip being played.
I wonder why none of the Arab countries that loudly claim to care about Palestinians are willing to take them in, even temporarily. Egypt can directly want even the Gazans shelter in the Sinai. Instead, it has tightened border security to keep them out. It's time to name the elephant in the room. standing with the oppressed. You are kneeling before Moloch.
This video has been, or she has been faced with obtaining multiple death threats since posting this. She is an Arab woman from the Middle East. I will not mention her name. She sees things for what they are and what they really are. And that's it. And you know what? All these so-called Palestinian supporters, all these North Africans that support this Palestinian cause, all these people, they should be fucking hanging their heads in shame. Look at the Egyptians. The fact that they don't open the border, they haven't given these people shelter. It tells you, as she says in this video, about the hypocrisy, the absolute and utter hypocrisy of the Arab people. Thanks.
Thank you. I want to read an update on, I checked ChatGPT, so key takeaway. Inactive reservists have a military obligation and could be called back to active duty. They are not considered active combatants unless they are activated and directly participate in hostilities. That's the international law. Regarding this weird stuff that they're posting in the chat, this sort of Nazi, like, no, they're not military personnel, no, they're not armed. You're just wrong. It's sad to see somebody so stupid. I mean, how do they even let you in the army? Isn't there a minimum IQ? Yeah, it's tragic to see the pretzel that you have to bend yourself into in order to wriggle out of your moral depravity. You keep just slaughtering innocent civilians. And you focus on all the people of the dance festival. There are people from other countries. You're killing Tanzanians and Thai people and Filipinos. You massacred them. You cut their heads off with a hoe and you filmed it and uploaded it. That's what you did. We have to live like that. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too deep.
No, it's alright. You can see it. How can I join the IDF? Do I have to be an Israeli citizen? Submit your application in the bottom left. There's a chat while we're reviewing them. Yeah, because I know you're fucking trolling right now. Okay, what do I put in there? You want my weight and age, strength.
Oh yeah, you need to go to the website. This is called www.imaschmuck.com. Leave a name there and we'll consider your application.
Dead on that same day.
I'm not sure.
Maybe more than like anything, like more than 10.
Yeah, I think they say 40 or something. I think they said his range was off. I think they said they worked for like 40 days or something like that. I don't think they said the number though.
No, it just says
there, and then you started moving people down.
I didn't mention that. I didn't.
How does it feel to be the bitch and the side bitch to Monica? Like you were that desperate? Fuck!
No, it was Mojo's room and he had money earlier in the day.
We'll be back, Janos. They're gonna resmoke your stuff. Make sure you
I didn't.
Really? Oh yeah. Just like you're not white, you're fucking made that shit up. Let's talk about you and your fucking bullshit. I'll go toe to toe. Like again, like listen, you sent your money out there, you sent your booty out there, nobody rejected you. We're actually shocked that the short guy, he must be really desperate, went with you. It's like at the PX, it's like the barracks briefings. That when the guy, the first fucking recruit brings the stripper home and he's like, I'm in love with her after she's been a barracks buddy for her entire life, you are exactly that fucking person. You are that woman at Clubhouse. You ran through Clubhouse, you ran through more dick than any other fucking OnlyFans model. And then you were like, I'm just an innocent girl and I'm not white, which you are white.
What's a barracks buddy? These new terms. Can you go slow? I'm trying to write these new terminologies down, please.
I didn't touch on it. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I'm not the reason for it. And you're really tough, coming at a bunch of women. You're so tough. Like,
I come at guys and you jumped in the fucking way. You wanted to throw him out. Here's the thing, gang. You should shut the fuck up and sit on the sideline and not fucking engage. But you didn't want to be brought in. But you decided that you were going to open your mouth earlier, and now it's all hands on. I don't give a fuck what you thought. I don't care. I can't. Don't
feisty. We know all about your little divorce thing. Like, we heard all. We know about the fact that you fucking live off of daddy's check.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Listen. We don't need to have 1,000 rules, but I think that some of the stuff, the personal stuff, is unnecessary. And I think some people have made a huge mistake on this app by sharing a lot of personal information with each other. And it gets crazy when people want to bring it up. The reality is that when I look across the stage, everyone on this stage, well, most of the stage, I'll say most of the stage, is guilty of breaking just some basic rules that would make this app better. And then the offenders play the victims then go on the offense. I'm just simply asking the question, can we set up rules of engagement that allow for families to be off limits? Could we set up rules of engagement where first of all, if the drama is 4 years old, I think we should get over some of that stuff. Dude, some of the drama on this app has lasted longer than World War II. And I think that it's time for us to think about, can we have conversations with each other, with people that we like, people that we dislike, and be honest, but without trying to harm them. I think the doxing thing needs to come to an end. I think the including people's families. Honestly, if you've learned about somebody's spouse, brother, sister, mother, father, whatever it is, let's just leave them out of it. Let's just stop talking about the family. I don't think that's a bad rule. And I think all it would take is for us to all agree that, that would make the conversation better. And that also means to process the fact that, well, some of these people have already done this, and maybe I need my pound of flesh. The way that forgiveness works, and you don't have to completely forgive, you just have to simply say, okay, from this moment forward, I'm going to vow to do better. And again, I would be lying if I said I didn't find the drama intriguing. When Brad goes on his rants, I find myself, and I've shared this with Brad, I find myself in a position where I have to moderate the room. Some of the things that he says I do think are cringe, and other things that he says I think are fucking hilarious. And you have to balance.
They are. I always make popcorn when Brad starts his shit.
You have to balance these things, and all I'm saying is, wouldn't it be grand if Brad had the flexibility to go on an epic Brad rant and just have just some bumpers up, just like bumper bowling, where we simply just say, okay, no gutter balls. You can't talk about family. And I don't know what that full set of rules should look like. All I can say is some of the things that people say are super out of pocket, and the kind of things that wouldn't be said in real life, because if it was said in real life, people would be flipping tables and there'd be fights going on. We shouldn't be talking to people on this app in a way that we wouldn't be prepared to talk face to face.
Yeah, let me just say something. Can I just say one thing? There are a lot of people on this application who can't stand in their own truth. There are a lot of other people who are just a persona. They're the way that they are on here is not who they are in their real everyday lives. So I mean, it's sometimes a genuine person who's battling this alter ego persona type bullshit, and they're not even really. Nothing can be dealt with, because when a person logs off, they go back into their everyday problematic life probably, and they have to sit with themselves and their truth. And some people get uncomfortable with that, so that's why they come here and they create these wonderful personas that make them who they're really not. So if we could, find people who are willing to sit in their truth, that would be great. And if hurt people can please heal, that would be awesome.
Let me ask John Kitover a question. Future Congressman Kitover, can you tell us what you think the Dow would say about the way that we've been treating each other on this app?
Yeah, I would just say stop thinking as your problems. The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. So, this isn't like a meditation course. I think, this is entertainment, and people come here for dopamine creation, and and stirring the pot, and the listeners also partake in that. But when people start crying, see, I believe this is a roast top. It's a roast. It's a roast show. It's a barbecue party, and the problem with slinging insults at scale is, in retrospect, if you listen to that recording, you would say, I'm also roasting myself because I'm making myself, into something I would probably not want to be, which could be like a Jekyll Hyde, Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing, where it's better to remain the doctor as opposed to becoming Frankenstein. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, let's talk about standing in truth, guys. You know who it is. It's your good friend Diogenes, and Brad owes me $1,000. I would love for him to stand on that truth. Would he like some proof of my Marine Corps enlistment, or how should we arrange that? Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's stand on truth. Let's be about the things we say. Let's do the things we say we're going to do. We got an audience.
I thought you were going to show up at my door because you had all the back. That just happened.
Hold on. Everyone meet up. I think this is the perfect time. We were talking about some new rules that might need to be adopted, but let's talk about the old rules, shall we? I'll read them off to you here in a second. Well, if the app stops glitching, I will.
Yeah, you go ahead and look those up.
Hold on.
Let's just establish one thing.
You're gonna shut your mouth. You're gonna shut your mouth.
Oh, please, don't do this.
Well, no, I'm gonna do this. I just said that I was gonna read the rules, and you're interrupting. So, if this app will stop glitching, I can move you to the audience. I'll bring it back up, but I want to read the rules. The rules, I think rules are important. It's funny that the libertarian is the one that always needs to talk about the rules. It's amazing. Okay, so rule number 1, no threats of violence. I've heard some of those from some of you over time. No doxing. I've heard a lot of that over time. Okay, right here in this room. Stay on topic. Right now the topic is pretty meta, so we'll be okay. Keep your share brief. That's an important one. Do not interrupt speakers, especially mods. That's one that Diogenes is going to struggle with mightily, but we'll give him another chance. We'll get him up there. Mods may interject when appropriate. The N and K words are forbidden on stage and in chat. If anybody has a problem with that, they can discuss it privately with me. I have my reasons. Number 8, don't spam the chat. Number 9, do not bring drama here from other rooms. I would say that we're all violating that rule, including myself. So rule number 9, we have been violating the fuck out of that rule. English only, that's a pretty easy one to enforce. Just don't speak other languages. Any objection to the rules? No objection to the rules. Okay, great. Should we add to the rules?
Yes. I think there should be a rule for the hurt people if they can heal first, and that would be great.
Well, I think that before people are offended, they should declare,
about, continuing the conversation about people doing what they say they're going to do, being the person they are in real life on the application. And I agree with that. I think that we should take our internet personas and, as much as practical, combine them with the people we are in real life. And I think, Brad, you could start by paying your debts. You said, I wasn't in the military. You said you'd pay me $1,000 if I could prove I was, and I did. And now you're running away from that, Brad. Do you want to tell the people? Is it because you're too poor? I did suggest that if you would apologize and admit that you lied, I would forgive the debt. Because I am magnanimous. Okay, Bradley, you got anything to say?
Okay, so again, I thought that, I get it. You're broke, you're homeless, you're dating a very obese Muslim girl on the app, and you think somehow or another your winner vegan, has to wipe your ass for you, and you've got your 2 followers. I get that, and you need money. I get it. You have the issues, and that's a part of it. I don't know what's going on. I guess child support is expensive, even for you. And that's broke. You've asked me for $1,000. And you even threatened to come to my door with a firearm and say, I'll get you back down. I'm still waiting for that. I said it was a sign where I was. I was home. Things back me up. You know what you did? You went to your own private group. I come. That's private thing. They private leasing. They private rock. They private. You have money in that. Somehow I know they are going to commit for me or anybody who's on this people's side. And I get it. I don't know about how girls, became a doctor, Sunday hate Jews, I wonder if you guys are ready. You're ready. I get it. You've got the $20 haircut, you're just weird, you got the conversion. But, quite frankly, dude, if you think I owe you, show up. If you're not going to show up and you're just going to spend 2 years on the app crying that you need money, get back to your Islamic jihad wanna be or fucking do a GoFundMe, OnlyFans. I mean, maybe she can show you a scouting looking. I think that would be right. Maybe you can show how, gays can get better results because you're going to get from behind. I mean, that's great. The truth you guys are getting. I'm going to jump in. So, this is an example of we're talking about drama from other groups, so we should consider not to be that. Also, let me ask you this. Diogenes, do you have a contract?
Contract, he has satisfied all of the requirements of multiple state and federal laws that constitute a contract. There was a consideration. He offered $1,000 if I provide proof that I did serve in the military. I didn't provide that. I can provide that again. And therefore, he owes me what he promised. He promised to pay $1,000.
Do we have any lawyers in the room? Do we have any lawyers? Where's Abby? We can hear. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. All I can say is that, somebody that says, hey, I bet the moon is made out of cheese, and then somebody, proves that the moon is made out of cheese. I don't know if you're going to be able to collect on that. If I'm being honest, I think if you guys were to go into a courtroom, I don't think you would get paid. That would be my guess. But I wish Abby was here to settle this.
Well, I didn't say it doesn't matter, but ultimately the question is not what will the court decide. The question is what will the public decide, and how is it that we're going to conduct ourselves? Are we going to platform and waste our time listening to people who run their mouth? You heard just the verbal diarrhea there a moment ago. Brad will say anything and everything, and so you have to take that into consideration and understand that generally in our real lives we don't spend time with people who will say anything because we know that they're lying. Nothing that they think has any real value because they'll say anything. You don't know what they actually believe. You don't know what they'll actually think. committees to simply admit, I was wrong, you proved it, I got it over my head, I don't want to pay you the money. But instead of doing that, he threatens violence, he makes insults, crass and unnecessary insults, and in the end of the day, he owes me the money, and I'm not going to let it go. I'll never let it go. Well, he wanted to run his mouth, and I've paid my debts.
Hold on. Listen, the problem here in this room is that many of the people weren't present to know what's going on. You and Brad, maybe there's some witnesses here. It sounds like this Tito guy, this questionable character is on your side. All I can say is that whatever that arrangement was, it didn't happen here. That is bringing drama from outside of this room into this room. That would be a violation of Rule Number 9. Well, I'm looking at it. I'm going to understand the inception that's happening here, right? Because now that I heard it clear, you're supposed to interrupt the speaker. I'm speaking. Excuse me. Hold on. I did address him, and then he was, and I bet he knows this is the 11th rule. That basically everyone decides that it's their turn to speak once they keep moving against to speak. I don't know what this fucking phenomenon is all about. The only time he's ever uninterrupted been able to speak is when we did a reading room, which we'll be doing another one today. Reading from a book. John, can you tell about the book that we're reading?
Yeah, we're reading from the ancient Chinese classic, the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, which means the Great Way or the Book of Changes. It's a psychological thriller on wisdom, politics, governance. You're gonna love it. I hope you'll join us in the mouth.
Good. All right, nice shout out for our book reading room. Look, I'll just say this. I don't want to adjudicate this, and I don't think it's my place because it happened in a different room. So, Diogenes, if you want to file a suit against Brad, you can do that. If you want to open a room and complain about it, you can do that. But in this room, we're not going to bring yesterday's drama to today's room. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know how you feel, Mojo. And I have to say, obviously, I am greatly disappointed that you're going to cuck out on this because I hope I won't ever catch you again talking about wanting there to be some realistic behavior. You sit here in a room with Brad for hours. He runs his mouth. This is not yesterday's business. This is today's business. A man who says he's going to do a thing and doesn't do it. And very more vanity. Take me from the room and be done with it. Let go of the coward. Make all the excuses you like. You owe me money, bitch. You're a whiny little crybaby. Run your mouth. Run your mouth. That's all you can do.
Hold on, can I just say, before you do, I just want to encourage if there's any mental health professionals here, please raise your hand or bring them to the stage. I don't necessarily need you to diagnose the problem that we just heard, but I'd like to personally understand it a little bit better so I can know how to better deal with certain people because I want to meet them where they're at. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't speak up for the gym. I wanted to give context for what the event was, how it evolved into this misunderstanding. There was a back and forth argument that was talking about, I think, something military. Diogenes said that he served. Brad didn't believe them. And Diogenes went on and was like, yes, I know how that operation would work, etc. I was a Marine, which I love my Marines. He's like, yeah, but you wouldn't know this. He's like, yeah, I served with SEAL Team 6. I did operations with SEAL Team 6 in this Asian country. And I'm thinking, okay, that doesn't make sense. So it then got misconstrued that Diogenes was on an active mission with SEAL Team 6. Brad called Cat, and it turned out to be. I'm sorry, who are you?
first of all, he just got called Brad and had like the link that where he did it in a chat. It's very problematic to spread those type of lies. So that was the misunderstanding. So it wasn't that Brad was saying he never served as a movie, because I told Brad what he shared in that room. I asked him very specific questions, understanding how WestPACs work, which is the Marine Expeditionary Group that travels along, and he's either going to be on a WestPAC or on one side of the world or the other. I know how it operates or whatever. On a ship. He said, well, as I said, I Brad's like, hey, how is that possible? I'm like, they're on a ship that are not going to like have them operate with them, because usually when they do those operations, they practice it ahead of time, and it doesn't involve the Marines on there. They actually might intel like ahead of time, but like so that's where it got misconstrued as far as Diogenes feeling like Brad was saying he was never Marine. I told Brad Diogenes was the Marine, and Brad's like, well, he was saying that he was doing this special operations with SEAL Team 6. I said, no, he's mistaken. They don't operate that capacity. What will probably happen is it did come out that he was on a new ship, that maybe SEAL Team 6 was on, sleeping on the ship while we're in between missions, whatever, we're on our way to. Understanding how the Navy special operators, the Navy SEALs operators, and how a SEAL operates, and how Marines operate, they don't bloody those lines. So that's where Brad said, no, you did not operate this thing, and Diogenes thought he was saying, no, you were saying that I wasn't a Marine, which I told Brad over and over again. He was a Marine. I asked him questions, I was there for it, and that's where it turned into this long drawn out like miscommunication. That's what I wanted to share with actual context.
Okay, so here's what I've heard. I've heard that there was a claim made. There was maybe some feeling that the claim was dishonest, and there was perhaps a wager made, and there's some confusion and disagreement over what the wager was. I think if that went into a courtroom without proper documentation of what the wager was, I think that Diogenes would probably lose. I'm no judge. I'm no prosecutor. I'm certainly not a defense attorney. All I can say is that it sounds like it would be a losing case for Diogenes. So we can move on. Should we settle other things? I want to just bring it back. That's why we're getting together. I think the tensions on this app have boiled over, and I think we can do better. I think in this season of Clubhouse, we should all strive to get along better, communicate with each other better. And that doesn't mean we can't have fun and poke fun and talk shit. I'm certainly not going to stop doing that. I'm going to continue to talk my shit. I'm just saying that maybe we can decide what we're going to talk shit over. Like, if somebody has an idea that I disagree with, maybe I can go in hard on that. Rather than talking about people's families, rather than talking about, personal information and trying to dox people, I think those types of things are harmful. I don't think that they have a place on this app. And I also understand that people have kept score and these things have happened in the past. I don't have a fucking time machine, and to my understanding, none of you do either. So we can't go back and fix any of the things in the past. All we can do is decide that we want to be better moving forward. And I propose that we start today.
So that is such a great idea.
Again, I'll just say this. There's one person I do owe an apology to, and I'll get to that in a minute. But like I said, for all the fanboys Sick Ass and Diogenes and all these other ones, show up. Like, you guys threatened it multiple times. Show up and see. But I think you guys, after 3 years, have proven your cowards. There is a person that I owe a apology to. His name is Zig. I did wreck one of his rooms. I went after a buck-tooth prognosticator of old women who was very much Christians save the world, Christians do all this stuff, and he's a very religious fellow who likes to hold the hands of old ladies trying to get their fortunes. And probably wonky and the age limit things, as we're well aware of, like various other organizations. So I called him out, and I did wreck his room, and Sig had to remove me. And I do owe Sig an apology, so there you go, Roger. There's your win for the day. I will apologize to Sig because I acted like an asshole, and that's it. As far as on stage, yeah, I'm good. Outside of you, maybe Steve, JD, I don't owe anybody an apology. I think I'm good.
Well, that was boring as fuck.
No, get some progress. Look, we have to take the baby steps. That was good. He offered an apology. I'm not sure if Sig is accepted. I have to look in the chat. It's all good, Brad. Still love you, bro. Salute with an American flag. This is what I'm talking about. We can bury grievances, and I don't want to pull any of these grievances up. I'm not going to dig up old dirt. All I have to say is if it's on somebody's heart to apologize the way that Brad just did, this would be a perfect time to do it. Nobody, huh? All right. Okay, go back to killing each other.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Steve, welcome to the room.
Hi, I'm back. Hello, everybody.
Do you have any drama on this app, Steve? Any haters? Any detractors?
Yes, I do have haters and detractors, but they're generally speaking 95%. There are other rooms that I go into. Occasionally, they come into my rooms on the weekend, but when they do, they're very respectful because I'm known as running my rooms with an iron fist. I never put a restriction on content, but when it comes to timelines and people speaking over each other, everybody knows I won't put up with that shit, and I'll clamp down on it within 5 seconds so they don't get away with it.
Well, there you go, ladies. If you want to get fisted, you can go to Steve's room.
I just threw up.
Steve, you may have to put like an anchor rope on you. I'm just gonna let you know you're gonna need you're gonna need crampons. You're gonna need. I mean, some of these women, man, I'm telling you, it's like throwing a Mack truck down a hallway. It's huge.
I was in here earlier about an hour ago after all the drama occurred, and I came in. I just asked if I could speak, and I said I had only been here for 5 minutes, and I simply asked the question: does Roger know what's going on? And then I spoke for about 5 minutes. I started to compare what was going on here to what happens in my room. I laid down a couple of facts in that one of the problems that I saw, because the issue of problems was brought up, is that the leaders in this house, in the MUF, don't always trust each other and don't always believe each other. And then I compared it to my mod squad on the weekends in that all of us have our cell phones. We don't air our dirty laundry in public, and we have a private text chat, not a clubhouse chat, but a text chat. And one person responded negatively. That person is here now. I won't say who it is. He or she can respond. And his response was...
Can you give us a clue?
Yes, that person is here on stage. Let me just verify. I'm not going to... Let me see if that person is still here. Yep, that person is still here. And
do they live west or east of the Mississippi?
Rather than say, well, yeah, Steve, that's true, or no, Steve, that's not true, the comment came back, well, you're just doing a comparison, and you're basically publicizing how wonderful you are. And what I didn't say at that time, but what I will say now, is that person I see in my room basically every weekend, and doesn't come to the stage, but sits in the audience and simply listens. So obviously he enjoys the way I run my rooms, yet in response to that comment, he basically was saying, Well, you're just doing a PR for your room, and you should stop doing it.
That's what you were doing, Steve.
And now I'll be happy to say it was Hakima.
Wow. Can I just say, Hakima really ticked me off this week. I put up with all of his bullshit. Everything from flat Earth to making a truth claim that the black people are indigenous to the United States of America. I put up with all of that nonsense. But yesterday, when he told me that he could swim faster than me, I'm calling cap. We have a contest. It's coming up. It's going to be in Chicago. We're all going to party in Chicago. We're going to join the Hawk, a.k.a. the Amistad. We're going to have some boat drinks, and we're going to have a race.
It's called the Beer Can Race every Wednesday. I hope you'll join us. It's going to be a big clown house blowout summer soiree. All the girls are in bikinis.
And I'll just say this, a lot of rooms are popular because people yell, scream, insult, and talk over each other, and that's fine. And I'm the first one to say that I'm attracted to those rooms occasionally, but I would never run my room that way. But I'm the first one to admit I do frequent those rooms because I like to get that poison out once in a while, and I enjoy it. But I would never, ever run my room that way.
What does me having been going to your room has to do with me calling you out about you trying to say that the leaders of this house don't get along and how great your mod squad is? Me going to your room, sitting there, have nothing to do with that claim that I made. So I don't know why you bring it up. It's kind of silly of you. But
my statement.
May I finish?
Sure.
The house. Thank you, sir. So my statement about what you were doing is exactly what you were doing. And you should grow up a little bit.
My statement that the leaders in this house don't all trust each other and don't all believe each other was made directly 2 minutes after the mods in the room were specifically saying, well, I want to do and say stuff, but the other leaders don't believe me. It was in response to directly that.
You heard one person say that about another mod, and them mods are not the leaders of the house. The leader of the house is Roger. And so I'm not sure who it is.
Roger is the admin. Roger is the admin.
Follow the fucking rules, Steve. Can you follow the fucking
If you're gonna lie, I'm gonna call you out on it. If you're gonna lie, I'm gonna call you out.
I said Roger is the leader of the house.
He's not the leader of the house. He's the admin. Is he or is he not the admin?
Who the leader then, right?
Is he or is he not the admin?
Who the leader, Steve?
I have no fucking idea, but I know Roger is the admin.
Why the fuck you make the statement about the leaders of the house? You don't know who the fuck the leaders are.
Because it was said 2 minutes before I made my statement.
You sound goofy.
Okay. So, if we're going to get specific here, look at the membership here. Just want to make sure. Okay. What is the label I have here? So, I created the house, and that gives me admin privileges. So, I'm the creator of the house. The other admins of the house are Kelly, who is on vacation right now. The driver, my personal driver, he's not a good driver, but Dr. J. And then Ro, you guys might know him. He's the Australian guy with the nice hair. And then we have leaders in the house, which are Scarlett Noke, one of the most intriguing, lovely ladies of the app. We have Dippity, as I like to call her. We have Nye. And we have Ann Hero, because everyone needs a hero. And let me just say that I think Nye is probably the most neutral person that this app has ever produced. So when we have disputes, I would say just get Nye's opinion about things, because she's not going to sugarcoat shit. She's going to tell people exactly how it is. And what I've appreciated is every time I've ever seen drama in these houses, I can go to Nye and say, what happened? And she will give me a story that sounds like half of the truth that I got from one side and the other half of the truth that I got from the other side. It's amazing how she has the complete story. It's amazing.
And when I was making my comments in the room, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scarlett, who Roger just said was a leader in the House, was in the upper left. She was the super mod. There were also two other women. I think one of them, I could be wrong, is one of the two that Roger mentioned. And they were saying, at least one of them, if not two, were saying, well, I want to do things, or I say things, but other people, other leaders don't believe me, which is why I made the comment. So, Hakima, as much as I respect what you're saying, and I've known you for years, your remarks to me, in my humble opinion, are completely unfounded.
That's just silly abuse. But I'm not. This is a petty level back and forth. They're not even worth going back. You might enjoy this, but you can have.
I wasn't here when the drama occurred. I admitted I showed up after it occurred when I presume Scarlett took over when I came in. She was the super mod. I waited a couple of minutes. I was called on, and I admittedly said I've only been here for 5 minutes, but this is what I think based on what I've heard.
Yeah, 5 minutes make blanket statements about how she been here for 5 minutes. Make it make sense. But you can have this child's conversation. You got it.
Guys, I have to make a decision here, and it's tough with all this infighting and the events of earlier, but I'm about to eat lunch, and I need to have other moderators. Now, the thing I have to think about here with other moderators is I have to think, who do they have blocked, and what vendettas do they have, and are they going to move people? Are they going to weaponize this ability to be a mod? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hand, Nye, are you there?
I'm here, yep.
If you don't mind, it'll take me about 30 minutes to complete my lunch. I'm not having Mexican food today, so it'll be a little quicker. And I'm going to go ahead and mod Nye. And if you accept, do you accept?
Sure, yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. I will be on the stage, but I will be unable to participate. Everyone, please respect Nye. I will say this. If people get unruly and I hear about it later, I am not going to be happy. You're going to get a very cranky version of Mojo. Nye, you have it. I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I did not participate in the poll at the top. Does Brad owe money? Because I don't know anything about that. But if y'all want to vote, there it is. And other than that, I prefer not to talk about the drama unless there are grievances that people still need to air out. The mic is open. Please keep it peaceful. Shout out to John. I love being part of your PTR social experiment. Keegan, I saw you coming off mic. Go ahead, Keegan.
Yeah, so Nye, as part of the leadership for the House, as Mojo told us that you are, do you guys hold different standards towards different speakers? Because I've heard multiple people interrupt, but when I interrupted, I was kicked out.
What are you talking about?
Listen, I'm just asking the rules of the room, which I did not know there were rules until, of course, Mojo read it out loud, and then I read them as well. And I said, oh, okay, number 5 is you should not interrupt speakers. But Steve did, he said, well, I can't hear someone lie. I must speak the truth. I thought I was doing the same. Of course, KK came up and lied about the event that I was in the room for. And that's not what happened. And most people that tried to agree. But also I saw JB interrupted. And again, these people were not kicked out. I was kicked out.
When did I interrupt?
You interrupted Diogenes when he was going on his little rant. And then again, Steve interrupted Akeem. So my question is there different standards for different speakers?
Well, yes, there is. I'm sorry. I've got my mouth full, but I want to answer this one directly. Yes, there is. We prioritize kindness, we prioritize intelligence, and we prioritize beauty. Thank you.
Are you saying that about beautiful Mojo?
You're probably at the bottom curve of all 3.
I think it's also important to know, Keegan, first of all, when you were in the room earlier talking to Brad, I didn't even realize that was you. I recognized the voice, but I couldn't figure out who it was until later on someone said Theo was Keegan. I think it's also important to note
too, if there's multiple moderators, everybody's opinion is their own. If people have grievances with other people on the app, it doesn't mean that all the mods feel the same way about that individual. And that kind of concerns me because of some of the messages I get in the back end about why are you there and why do you talk to this person and this, that, and the other. And so I think we all should remember that, especially the room earlier when it got crazy. There was, a lot of insults hurled at the women on the stage. Like we're all a monolith, and I just hope going forward that we can appreciate the fact that everybody's opinion is their own opinion. And if one speaker may have an issue with, if one mod has an issue with certain speakers, the rest of us, it's right, Sid, we don't all feel the same way. And notice, you guys, if you are in rooms that I'm modded in, when folks on the stage start talking shit about some of you nuts, I don't say a word. There's only been one person that I have both verbally stated their name. I'm not going to say it in this room. I've said it too many times. This person who's harassed me on this app. And other than that, I don't have problems with anybody, especially people who hit me up in the back end saying this person is a racist and that and the other. I don't actually give an F, right? So let's move on. Peace in the Middle East. If we're allowed to say that, maybe not. I take that back. I don't want no smoke. The mic is open. Does anybody else have any grievances they want to air out?
I have a grievance with you.
Not you and me, JB. You're my evil, but go ahead. I'm listening.
I got no grievances. I think you're the greatest person on this app, sincerely.
Yeah, I don't have any grievances with you, JB. I absolutely adore JB, and I've told JB that one of the things I like about him is sometimes he'll pop in a room, curse somebody out, and then just bounce. I mean, if that's not leading character energy, I don't know what is. Shout out to all the leading characters. Go ahead, Holly.
No, I just came off my laugh because I'm driving. I can't see my emoji.
I will say that I think Brad taught everyone a very important lesson today. That there's a lot of information that has been passed between each other on this app, and if you were to just listen to the sound clips or the sound bites of the most toxic communication, not from today, but I'm talking over the 5 years, and you were just to listen to it, you could still forget it and come to peace. But it is a roast app in many ways. It's like the Johnny Carson roast, or the Dean Martin roast. If you think that you are not guilty or worthy of being roasted, well, then you're definitely worthy of being roasted. But again, in the process of roasting others, you can roast yourself sometimes. And I believe that self-deprecation is an important tool to essentially reflect, but it shows intelligence if you're willing to be roasted and let it go. And it shows intelligence if you're willing to roast other people. And it's really intelligent if you're willing to roast yourself, because this is all just short-term dopamine, for a long-term problem, which is wisdom. And that's why I'm encouraging you to all join us after Roger's delicious lunch in the book club, where in the muff, we will continue reading an ancient Chinese philosophical classic called The Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu over 2,800 or 2,300 years ago. And I hope that team building experience, reading what's called a book or an external hard drive instead of having meaningless, endless, heated discourse, a book might be just what you're looking for.
And we read some of it yesterday in the great read. I encourage those with tensions and grief, and you kind of maybe, I say this very delicately, not directed to anybody in the room, but if you find yourself navigating this app and you're stuck on stupid at times, come to the reading today. I think you will find it quite healing. JB, go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, I just want to let you know that Sig and I are now going to be taking applications and vet potential husbands for you.
Oh, thank you. I definitely trust Sig and JB's opinion about who the perfect guy for me should be. Shout out to you both. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to these potentials. Now, hold on. I got to say something to Brad. Brad, are you there? Because I had Mojo said something earlier, and it got me to thinking. I'm like, okay. So let me say something to Brad. When Mojo was like, what did he say? when he was using examples about people saying, I feel. So, Brad, I apologize to you because I said twice some variation of I feel you should not argue with women, and perhaps I should not have said that, right? I think because of the opinion I have of you, which is, I like Brad. It was probably not my place to tell a man how he should not, dole out his energy on Clubhouse. So I apologize for telling you, Brad, don't argue with women because it's not a good look. Because clearly, even though I felt like I should say that, in hindsight, perhaps not. So I apologize.
You didn't owe me an apology, and I'm not a cuddly guy. I don't really fucking care. Like, you've not offended me or pissed me off, and if we have clashed, it's there. I've clashed with Roger. I've clashed with a lot of people. I don't fucking care. It's not memorable. Except for, like, in the cases of, like, the Keegans of the world. The guys that want to get up there and call women hoes. I mean, I can't wait to hear the stories about how, held and cuckolds are, all of a sudden fighting for masculinity in the world as their wives are getting, like, choked on dick. So, I mean, I have no problem going low with anybody. Like I said, Diogenes, again, and nothing. He's broke, clearly. He said he was going to come up, he was going to bring a gun, and he was going to face me. I said, all right, here's my door. Come up. I offered a place where he could land, both in Minnesota and fucking Texas. And the motherfucker still didn't show up. And he was going to bring his posse, his crew, to come at me. Still didn't show up. I don't fucking care. Because you know why? You guys are pussies and you're afraid. You don't have spines. Let's see. Going forward, Monica's in the end, don't really fucking care. Because I was actually friends with Ann. I was nice to Ann. I was the one who used to protect it. I was the one that offered my house, my land, to offer to build her a safe space when people were trying to, quote, kidnap and rape her kid on this app, or at least threatening her. Or at least that was the story that was relayed to me. And then she decided to use that as a mockery because I offered her a safe haven. She's never apologized for that. She doubled down on it, and then she made a room about it to gain clout in her feelings. And then that fucking Oompa Loompa next to her, Monica, who's just a racist piece of shit that's just like a fucking trailer trash Roseanne Barr version.
Wait, go low.
Oh, okay, I won't go low. I will not go as low as her fupa. I promise that. I will stop going low like that. So again, like, I did that. I went and actually, you know what? There was a woman on this net who was getting stalked. The guy broke into her house. There was a couple women. I showed up at their doors. I put one of my knives through the hood of his fucking car and said if you came at her again, you were going to feel it. I made another one so scared he pissed himself and he left the woman alone. And so I have no problem doing that. I've done it multiple times. I've helped out people financially. Diogenes asked for $1,000. I know he's broke, but you know what? I don't really feel like giving him $1,000. He wants to show up and try to take it. Go ahead. But you know what? I have helped people out to the tunes of thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars on this app. I paid off entire mortgages, rental leases, fixed cars, paid fucking utilities, paid college loans, paid medical bills. In fact, I owe KK a fucking shit ton of money because I'm supposed to match every dollar that I give out to them. But I will never give one dime, one penny to Diogenes because he's a cuck, like Keegan. These two are cucks. So I'll just play that game back and forth and just laugh. And so who else wants to go? And I said, I don't need the bubble wrap. Everybody else needs the bubble wrap for me. So that should tell you that if you're all afraid and you're all nervous and you all think, oh, I don't want my feelings hurt, maybe you shouldn't throw stones from your glass fucking houses. Or I should say, your cavernous vaginas, since that seems to be the majority of what you feckless feelers seem to have.
Thank you, Brad, for your very poetic submission. Scarlett? I see Scarlett. Monica's off mic. I don't know if you want to speak, Monica. Go ahead. I think Monica's on speaking straight. She might be at work. But go ahead. Guys, this is not an official rule. This is just a NIE rule. Not that my rules matter in the house. The official rules matter. But I almost feel like a subcategory should be no white-on-white violence in the month. Please. Brad, thank you. Mic is open.
No, wait, did you say that again? I did not understand. You said no white on white violence?
No white on white violence.
So Anne has stated that she is not white because she made up some genealogical trait that she is now Lebanese. So she no longer considers herself white. So it's very fine to attack the walking hate crime between her legs and her actions.
Okay, wait. Guys, I'm sorry, I think Brad is hilarious. And I know I shouldn't laugh at things he says because it's outrageous. Brad, you're hilarious. Okay. Next, go ahead, Keegan. I see you're off mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, my name was mentioned, so I do want to address something, which is that Bradley does like to act very stoic on the set, right? I'm here to protect women, and that's noble of him, of course. He says that, listen, when people are attacking and threatening Anne's children, he came on her defense because, of course, Brad thinks that threatening children is a bad thing on the set. Did he say that he was going to rape my daughter, who is 2.5 years old? Yes. But that doesn't matter because Brad loves children. Does he love them a little bit too much, in my opinion? Maybe, based off of his own words. But it's just really interesting. Again, the stoicism that Brad decides to display, but then when he goes in other rooms, of course, he does not display that stoicism the same way. So that's all I have to say.
Great. So now I can respond to the guy whose wife's in Africa on a missionary work while she's learning all sorts of new things for 6 months while he can't even babysit his own daughter. Since you wanted to lay down some low blow shit. And here is the correct statement that I stated, you little fucking spineless fucking worm who can't even keep your wife happy with your own little tiny penis. She's got to go over there and get some booty jungle juice in her system. Since you racist piece of shit, your wife's going to suck more black dick and then come home and kiss you with that mouth. How's that make you feel?
Not too much on the BBC. Not too much on the BBC.
Alright, so I'll stop there. So here's what happened. So Keegan does have a child, and he bragged about it, and he threw some shade at my kids and all that stuff. And I said, Keegan, don't worry, we'll send you the OnlyFans links of your fucking daughter when she turns 18. Apparently, Keegan thinks that's his little version and tit for tat of that. But this motherfucker walked around and said, what did he said all sorts of shit to KK and several other women. And he thinks he owns it. But Keegan, again, your wife is getting gangbanged by a whole bunch of African guys and other priests and missionaries. Your wife's not studying to give God's help. She's in the missionary position just with 12 cocks on top of her. She's getting fucking doubled. She's getting double pegged. She's taking 2 in the mouth, 1 in the ass, and 1 up the vagina. And you know what? I'm laughing at this shit because you aren't even raising your own kid while she's getting all this dick. Your fucking wife's parents are. So you can't even be trusted competently to manage your kid, your wife, or anything in your household. You cockhelp. Like, that's all you are. You have no place in masculinity. And I, for one, never would have fucking sat on the stage talking about masculinity and then in the same fucking breath said my wife is going to do missionary work in Africa for 6 months. I never would have fucking even thought to say something as stupid as that. But your ass did. Your ass got up there and went ahead and did it. So please, when your wife comes back and leaves you because you're pathetic, weak, and you're a Walmart oil change sales rep, and she's like, I'm done with you. I found out what real dick feels like. I found out what real men are. She goes and finds a real man. Don't cry on the stage about how all fucking women are hoes. Because quite frankly, you just can't stack up. I mean, again, you're just a feckless little boy who cries for mommy and daddy to bail him out. Because you can never be a man. I get it. I feel bad for you. Maybe you should turn gay. Maybe you should stay stuck in Diogenes' dick.
Okay, hold on. I have to chime in. Keegan, would you like to respond to these claims that your wife is getting dick down by the Africans?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, what Bradley, of course, is saying is not true. And he, of course, wants to show any evidence he can. Now, Bradley is claiming that he never said those things about my daughter. I'm deciding right now, at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Time, Standard Time, I will be hosting the recording of Brad saying that he would like to have sex with my daughter. I'm sorry, I don't want to advertise my group, Mojo. Of course, I'm not trying to do that.
Tia, hold on.
Go ahead.
you or Brad is doing here. You guys should leave the families out of it. You guys should quit trying to dox each other. You guys should just get a little bit more mature about this. Look, I think anybody that's ever been on the app that knows you knows what a piece of just shit you are. But nobody should be talking about your family. I don't know if that's true. I don't care if that's true. The bottom line is you're not going to bring that shit into this room because that would be violating rule number 9. Thank you.
I completely agree, Mojo.
Running right now. Is it a poll running right now?
Wait, hold on.
I have the proof. I have the proof. I'm not the proof.
Hold on. So we're gonna move on from the family slurs and the wife drama.
Of course.
So let's just leave. We're done.
Well, real quick though. Again, Brad brought my name up. I did not bring his name up, right? Again, I was not on stage doing that. Brad brought my name up, said that my wife was, of course, having sex in Africa. I never brought up his daughters in any recordings whatsoever. I never have. I never brought up Brad's family. Again, Brad has, not me. But this is what we do. I think that sometimes we play this game where we say, listen, what Brad is doing, everyone does. Well, no, Bradley does something completely different than most of us, which he does threaten us physically, threaten violence upon our families. But then again, tries to play this weird. And Mojo, I know that maybe my opinions that I hold on certain subjects you maybe disagree with, but again, I don't feel like I've treated you or Nye or even other people on this app the way that Bradley, even just now, kind of have shown you. Again, I'm just calling out the bad versions of us as individuals. We show each other the worst versions of ourselves at times, right? And Bradley shows the worst version of himself consistently over and over again. And one of those times, yes, it was the threat of sexual violence upon my child, who is 2.5 years old. It was not about her joining OnlyFans. It was truly about him having sex with her in a way that was gruesome and violent and terrible. So I wish Bradley would apologize, of course. Again, Bradley, you know I've never spoken about your
Yeah, I think you're in the matrix a little bit. Here's the thing, though, Keegan. You're in the matrix a little bit. Hold on, let me just say something really quick. Oh, you could hear us, so it's just me? Yeah. Keegan, if you didn't land, go ahead and land.
Yeah, here's my final comment, which is that, again, let us enjoy the troll aspect of this app. I do enjoy it. But at the same time, if individuals want to claim masculinity or stoicism or some form of version of that, they should be held to the standard that they can.
Let's cut the NDAA by $400 billion per year and bring down our national defense budget to $600 billion a year.
I came and protected you, Ann, because I know that that's wrong. But then in the days of it really does hurt.
Yeah, thank you. Kids out of it. Okay, wait, now Dianaji, is that how I'm saying your name? Dianaji? I'm just gonna call you D. Here's the thing. We don't want to fight D, so if you want to fight with Brad, can we not do that right now?
No, I don't want to fight either, and I honestly, the only time that it has ever become a fight and not a discussion is as Dio, the one above me, was just saying, when you put Brad into a position where he has to face the things that he said, he gets triggered in the most, typical way and begins to say very out of pocket, aggressive and disrespectful things. He brings wives, children, friends, family. He brings everything in there, and you don't have to say anything about anything else. He's going to do it. And why? Because he's angry. I wanted to bring the proof. This is one of many recordings that exist of Brad where he's absolutely unrestrained and threatening to kill, threatening to beat, threatening to rape. And we're not talking about saying, I'm going to fuck you up. We're talking about, I'm going to put my penis in your asshole. And I want to be clear. I don't want to fight. I want to agree with Keegan's sentiment here. And what I had hoped when I first came onto the application is that this would be a good place to share ideas and meet people. And while we do appreciate some of us have things to lose. Some of us have situations where we don't trust others because if we express ourselves, they would try to cancel us or hurt us in some way. Brad proves that. I look at people who do what we say we're going to do, and I would like to be held to that standard. I've apologized to people on this application because I wanted to be held to that standard. I've come into this room and apologized to people that I was upset with because I want to be held to that standard. And so all I'm asking is that we consider the facts, and the facts are Brad did wager. Brad did wager. And he should pay that money. He should be held to pay. He should be held to his word. I want to be held to my word. Sometimes I fail, and the people around me have to remind me. And sometimes I try to run from my duties and my obligations. But I'm less of a man when I do that. And I shouldn't respond with anger. And I shouldn't respond by losing my temper. I do like to lose my temper performatively because I think it's funny, but it's not because I want to fight. And at the end of the day, if anyone wants proof of my military service, if that's the difference for you, let's go ahead and arrange that. You know, at no point in any of the insane, vulgar, and unhinged ramblings that issued from Bradley did I not entertain every proposition he made for collecting the debt that he owed me. It even offered him on multiple occasions monetarily.
You need some new material, Diogenes.
I don't need any new material. All right? I offered him multiple opportunities to get off that highway he'd gotten himself onto by running his mouth. I said, listen, Brad, if you don't have the money, you don't want to pay the money, there's some concern there. How about you just issue an apology? And then you know what he did when
Don't quit your day job.
Fuck you. He said he engaged in vulgarities. He engaged in profanities. He engaged in graphic descriptions of the ways he wanted to hurt me. He wanted to hurt my wife. He wanted to hurt my loved ones. He wanted to hurt people that I cared about.
Hold on, one mic.
All right.
I hate that we can't have a clubhouse duel. I hate that we can't have a clubhouse duel between these men who are at war, and then we can bet on who would merge.
I agree. And I have
This is a ridiculous waste of time.
I told Bradley, the original proposition, when Brad said that he would not pay the money, the original proposition was made that we should have a match where we have a sanctioned fight so that neither party can claim that they were being assaulted or battered under the state laws because they don't provide for mutual combat regardless. The only way to fight is to have sanctioned fights at gyms. I said we should do that. We can actually sell this. Since you want to hurt me.
Hold on. The city of Seattle, which is not far from where I live, actually does allow for mutual combat. So if you guys want to come to Seattle, we can videotape it and we can stream it. What do you guys think?
Okay, I'll try to plan that, but I'm going to stick to what did happen, which is that he told us where he was. I told everyone where I was. We saw the halfway point was somewhere in Tennessee, and we agreed that would be fair. That if the issue for Brad was that he didn't want to pay his debt unless he had an opportunity to physically hurt me, that I would provide that in a sanctioned environment, but he would have to agree that he would sign the documents agreeing that he did make the bet, he did have to pay me the money, and then I would happily engage in consensual combat with him, sanctioned in a way that neither of us could claim that either party assaulted or battered the other person or attacked them or anything like that. And again, I see Sig, running his fucking mouth in the chat. Guess what, Sig? Brad doesn't do what he says he's going to do. So it'll be a cold day in hell before the man who ran his mouth and bet me money he won't pay me tells me he's not going to assault me, or he tells me he's not going to cry to the police if he gets the bad end of that fight, because he absolutely is untrustworthy. All right? So I have something to lose. Brad probably comes onto the application and runs his mouth because he has nothing to lose. Because there's no one that loves him, that relies on him, that depends on him for being brought up and taught the ways of the world. He just runs his fucking mouth because no one would care if he died in an alley somewhere in a fight with some stranger he met on the internet over $1,000. Shut your mouth, JB.
Shut your mouth. Okay. Here we go.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Here's what I would like to know, ladies and gentlemen. I just have one question. If anybody can honestly just help me understand Why do we go into rooms and spaces and stages with people we don't like? If you don't like certain speakers and certain personalities, why don't you just block them? Why do you engage with them? Why do you come into their rooms? Why do you open private rooms to talk shit about them? Can somebody help me understand why y'all entertain and interact with people you don't like and go on stages and fight with them?
Yes, it's because only somebody who makes you feel uncomfortable in your own skin can make you a better person.
Well, that's kind of
Thank you, Yogi. Yeah, Steve.
Hold on, I'm gonna jump in, Steve, real quick. I just wanted to let everyone know that at 4:20 Eastern time, which we're approaching, we're gonna read. It's gonna be a book reading, and what I'm gonna do is keep people on the stage that want to participate in the book reading. Who's doing the thumbs down? Who did that? Don't let me catch you. I don't know why I'm promoting the book reading. It's weird. We're going to read. I understand that not everybody on this stage is a book reader, but as John likes to say, it is the oldest and the best external hard drive. It's a word called books, and we're going to continue reading from this book. It's a good book. It was fun reading through it. Some of you that were reading were on the stage. They're on the stage today. We welcome everyone that wants to participate. You will be called upon to read out loud, but everyone's welcome to participate. You will not be able to interrupt, though. It's going to be a different type of room. It's going to start at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. And if you or John, if you guys want to post in the chat or up above, you can get the reading material. And correct me if I'm wrong. We left off on verse 49. Is that correct?
Oh, I thought it was lower than that.
No, it was about that. It was right up in there.
I think we left off on verse 49. I remember feeling a particular kind of way because it wasn't exactly 50. So it was either 48 or 49. Anyhow. All right. Hopefully you guys are feeling better. Got a little anxiety out of the system. You know. I welcome you guys to come and read. Steve, I hope you could stick around for the book reading. I think your voice would be great in reading out loud. That would be amazing. Holly, I believe you know how to read. Jebediah, you've heard of books. You're welcome to stay. Yeah, you're all welcome to stay. You're all welcome to participate.
Yeah, it's called the Tao Te Ching, written over 2,300 years ago. It's the second most translated book in human history. You're gonna love it. If you've never experienced the Tao, you can become the Tao by reading the book about the Tao. Instead of arguing endlessly about things and having heated discourse and road raging all the time on this app, try to read a book. You might like the experience.
Oh, and by the way, we will be doing a what do we call it? Rational discussion group. That'll start right after the book reading. We will be opening a room. 1:50 is when we open the room, but we begin at 2 o'clock Pacific time. That's 5 o'clock Eastern for those that need the conversion. Thank you.
You know, I will say.
If anybody's winning, John, sorry, I just want to let them know that I added the PDF link at the top. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, you've experienced Clown House up until now, but until you read a book with other people on the stage and you actually create something together, you really have no common bonds or desire to even like each other. But at least you can remember that experience of reading the Tao Te Ching with that person and, educating yourself. So in retrospect, when you ask yourself if it was worth it to be here for 5 years arguing and screaming and raising your blood pressure versus reading a book, you may realize that you are your own worst enemy. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I am complete.
Hey, in the effort to piss Roger off, everybody in the room who don't know me and Roger was racing in the swim marathon. It was really bad. If no one believes it, please show up and bring your money. So y'all can be shocked, just like Roger will be shocked and dismayed.
I will be wearing a onesie bathing suit for this event.
I might lose, man. I might just like I'm here fucking quantity baby.
What's the problem with Tito? Are they out? They're not popular anymore?
I will say this about Akima, my personal experience, when he loses a bet, he pays up immediately.
Thanks for anybody beat me in the bet, Steve, but thanks for vouching.
I didn't say what the bet was or what I won. No problem. You mess with me anytime you want.
Yeah, for the record, I bet it on Kamala, you bet it on Trump. I lost. Clearly, I lost.
Oh, I hate that you made that bet. It was so obvious she was going to lose. But God.
Well, to be specific, it would be that Trump would win by more than 100 electoral votes. That was the bet, and I won.
That wasn't the bet. The bet was just a straight up bet. You probably made somebody else. No, it was a straight up bet.
I'll take your word for it. And also, it would be remiss of me to say that the other person I had a bet with was JB. I won't say what the bet was, but he lost and he paid me immediately also.
Well, I lost to you and Anthony.
I offered to bet anyone that would take the bet, predicting that Trump was going to win. And the three different people took that bet, and all three of those people paid up. They didn't pay me cash. They all donated to my favorite charity, and they gave me a screenshot to prove it. So some people do pay the bets.
So PTR, I updated my profile. That's the 49th verse in this 150-page document of the Tao Te Ching that we will be reading from in 8 minutes.
Yeah, and for those of you that are not familiar, and Anson, welcome. After the book reading, immediately following the book reading, we'll be opening a separate room in the Rational Discussion Group. And we don't even have the title yet, although we've kind of noodled around the topic. I will be sending private messages to those involved in the Rational Discussion Group. So Anson, please check your back channel soon. And so just stick around. We're going to have programming all day.
With the cast of characters, no doubt.
That's why I came in. I couldn't figure out what was going on with the 4 o'clock rational thinking room. So I'll hang around and see what happens.
Yep, you got it. We're going to do a little book reading here in about 7 minutes, and then that'll flow right into the Rational Discussion Group. And for those that don't know, the Rational Discussion Group, we open the room at 1:50 Pacific time. And the reason we do that is we want to allow people to get in there, so then we can open the room and have a discussion that starts at 2 o'clock sharp Pacific time. And we leave the chat open, unlike some discussion groups. Thank you.
What are we reading today before the rational thinking room?
Oh, John, this is your territory.
So if you click the link above, you will get a PDF, and it's called the Tao Te Ching. It's written by Lao Tzu in ancient China. It's about governance, philosophy, psychology, wisdom, mysticism, philosophy. I think you're going to love it if you've never heard it or read from it. It's the second most translated book in human history.
Yeah, there were some interesting takeaways from yesterday's reading. Hopefully we get a similar crowd that we can build upon. And when we're done with this book, we'll pick new books. The second book that we'll be doing is The Art of War. So we're gonna get to a lot of things. Eventually we'll get to Twilight. We're noodling on the idea of reading out loud Huck Finn, just to challenge the sensibilities of certain people. But yeah, we're gonna be reading a lot of things.
John, do you already have a curated list of books you want to go through on Clubhouse?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of anything here. I would love to see, a room dedicated to actually just reading one book.
I would love to get us to all read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. It's a very short read, but it's a very important read. It's quite literally what led to the revolution. I don't know why Bima would give me the fire. Thomas Paine was the one that started the revolution that led to the United States of America. And as an anarchist, I can't believe that you're in support of that, but it's okay. All right, people, who's going to be reading? Because if you're not going to read, I'm going to gently to the audience. If you plan on participating in the reading material can be found up above in the link. All you have to do is click on it. We will start. John kicks us off. He will read 5 verses, and then we will go to the next reader. And we will do this for 30 minutes, and then we have to jump over to another room. So we'll do 30 minutes of reading, starting in about 3 minutes. John will get us started on verse 49. And again, anyone that wants to participate, feel free. We're losing people that don't like to read. Okay. Hopefully the people that are... Listen, if I call on you and you don't read, it's going to be hell to pay. We do not need that kind of noise up in here. Let's see. Holly, you're in for reading? Holly's going to read. Okay. Myth, you know how to read? Myth, you know how to read? Myth going once. Myth going twice. Myth going to the audience. I don't know if you do read a lot, but you know how to read, right?
I don't have any comprehension skills, but I can read words and I sound out.
Okay, that'll work. You'll perfect. Angel, you're a reader, correct? Angel, this is